Oh no, my mystery snail eggs are hatching. What do I do? Stay tuned to find out. Well, I am here to show you what I do to hatch my mystery snails. So when I find a mystery snail clutch, and if you're not sure of mystery snail clutches, I have 3 different clutches here, different stages of development. So here is a mystery snail clutch that is not too far off from hatching. This is typically what you're going to find. If you find this in your aquarium, you want to touch it to see if it's firm. If it's still a little squishy, you want to wait until it hardens up. I usually wait about 2 days and then I pop it off because I'd prefer to hatch it this way to make sure that it has the proper humidity. This is a clutch that is literally splitting and the babies are about to come out. And this is a clutch that, oops, hatched overnight and the babies are all under the mesh. So we got to get these guys out and into some water, and then we're going to hatch these guys out. So bear with me one moment and I'll be right back with you guys. For successful mystery snail hatching, you want a nice humid environment at 80% humidity until these guys hatch. I float these guys in a little deli Tupperware that I do punch some holes in. There's about 4 there to allow for air exchange. And these guys took 11 days to hatch, but they can take a little bit longer depending on the temperature of your aquarium. Our aquariums are room temperature, 74 degrees. So what I do is I take a deli cup, I punch the holes in the lid, I take some aquarium water, and this is water from the aquarium with a little calcium added for when we hatch these guys. Calcium for the water is not required. So a little aquarium water, and this is paper towel. I put this down, make it damp, and then if you have crafting mesh, which is my preferred layer of protection, I like to put the eggs. Ooh, there's a baby on my finger. Let me put him in the water. I prefer to use the crafting mesh because it is the best aeration for both the top and the bottom eggs. You don't want the eggs to have contact with the damp paper because the eggs will spoil. So if you don't have crafting mesh, a little piece of plastic is fine, and that's an old Tupperware lid that I cut up, and these are Tupperware squares, and that way I could hatch all my clutches together. So these guys are just a little bit behind because these guys were laid 3 days later than these guys were. So these guys are ready, these guys are ready, and these guys are ready. So like I said, these are 11 days in here to hatch. They can take up to 3 weeks to hatch, so if it takes a little bit longer, don't worry. As long as they don't feel light to the touch at the end, they will hatch out. But if they're a little light to the touch, they might have dried out for you. A good indicator that you have proper humidity is that you'll see condensation on the sides throughout the day. Not all the time. You'll see it mostly in the morning, mostly in the evening. But if you see a lot of condensation, feel free to take this out and just wipe it down a little bit and replace the lid and float it back in your aquarium. I replace this little piece of paper in here every day to 2 days, depending on the humidity level in here. If you see any kind of buggies getting in here, because if you have a lot of aquariums, sometimes you get gnats that get in here, you'll want to change this out. You want to keep this fresh because, as you can see, sometimes the babies hatch out on there and you want it to be clean. So let's go forth and get these guys out of here and start putting them in the water. So what I need to do this is aquarium water. Our water tends to be a little bit on the softer side, so I like to add crushed limestone powder, which is calcium carbonate, to make sure that the water is hard enough for these guys. And I also like to dust them with a little bit of Shrimp King Dennerly powder. This is a very good food. It's actually a shrimp food. but it makes a great biofilm, which is great for these guys when they're first starting out. They need to eat immediately. Yes, they'll eat the egg casing, but you also want to make sure that they go have a little bit of extra food, and the Dennerly powder works very well for me. So what I do is I add just a pinch of the calcium bicarbonate, and not everybody's going to need this, to some aquarium water, and I got about 2.5 cups of water in here. So then I added a little bit of Dennerly, which is that little bit of red in the bottom. I'm letting it settle. That's why it's a little cloudy. And I use the tweezers just to mix up the water. And I let it try to settle the best I can, but it's still a little bit cloudy. It will settle clear with the calcium if you do need to use it. So I'm going to rearrange a few things here so I can put the cup in view for you guys, and we're going to try to do this live action as little cuts as possible. So I'm going to take the babies out that are not ready to hatch, and you can tell that they're not ready to hatch because they are still very firm to the touch. Now you do see some bubbling going on with these guys. Let me see if I can get you a better vista. Here we go. Focus, please. There we go. Now you do see some bubbling on the top with those little air pockets. That means that the babies are starting to descend. Those little dark spots are the babies hatching out inside the clutch. And what happens is that they hatch inside the clutch, and then they descend into one big mass and they break free. So the clutch will become very soft, and then they will end up popping out. And I actually felt a baby under here, so happy birthday, baby. You're from the fellow clutch, so we'll put them in there. So yes, when you make sure you check on your snails often, because you will have some that will accidentally hatch out overnight, and it's not a bad thing, but you really don't want them hatching right onto the paper because it's a little bit harder to get them off the paper, making sure you got all the babies everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this clutch that has already hatched out, and we got some babies under there as well, so we're going to take them, I'm going to put them right into the water, see what babies are left in the already hatched out clutch, get any off that are in the mesh. And these guys were okay that they hatched out in here because it was a very humid environment, so as long as I got them within the day, these guys should be okay. So you want to make sure that there's no babies left in the clutch. Any left in here that are in the water can drown. So once they're out of their eggs, they'll go down, they'll acclimate, they'll get settled in, and then they'll start snailing around almost immediately. Typically about 20 minutes you'll start seeing movement. So then I can show you guys, we have so many babies on this little paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this paper right out of here, and I'm going to put it right in the water and make sure that I get all the babies out of here. Now first, as you can see, they look like they're going to be all golds. Now these were laid by a gold mama, and we're not sure who the daddy was because there was a bunch of colors in the aquarium with mama, but this was mama's first clutch ever, and they looked all be golds as well, but we'll have to see what they grow up to be. You never know. But you can already see one snailing around right in the center. They're moving around, so let's get these babies in the water because that's where they need to be. Sorry if I got a little loud there. I got a little close to the camera. If you guys can see, they're going right off, right into the water. Happy birthday, babies. I hope you have very long, snaily lives. Make sure you get them all out if this happens. And this is totally my fault. I was busy last evening. I didn't get to check on them, and then I laid down and I woke up this morning and they were on the paper. It happens. But we have the babies in here now. They're all on the bottom, and they'll start getting acclimated. You can actually see some of them moving around already, and I will show you a better view of that at the end of this. But now we have one more to hatch out, so I'm gonna come over here going to grab this and I'm going to show you guys with the pokey stick that I have how squishy these guys are when they're about to hatch. Let's see, where am I? Very, very, very soft to the touch. So what I do is I just take the clutch and I remove it from the plastic protection, drop it right in the water, and then I quickly and very gently release them from the clutch as I sing them happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Snabies. Happy birthday to you. Alrighty, and there we go. Typically, the length of a birthday song is the amount it takes to hatch those babies out. Now the clutch was broken up very gently. We got our babies in here, snailing about, just working it up. So I'm going to get the clutch that isn't ready yet back into its container, pop it back in the aquarium, let these guys settle down, and I will come back to the little babies moving around in here, give you guys a better view, so bear with me. Here are the babies doing their first snail crawl. Some will be clumsy at first, but they'll get the hang of it very fast. And as you can see, they've already started climbing up the sides. So these guys are very active already. These guys are about 10 minutes after we've just watched them hatch out, and they're already snailing around being very happy. And it looks like Mama Golden laid golden, albino, and blue babies. There might even be some jades in there. We'll have to wait and see for them to grow up a little bit more. I will leave these guys in here for about 4 days to 1 week, changing the water and refeeding every day. It's very important that these guys have very clean water at all times. They will then be moved to their grow-up tank. I like to keep a close eye on them the first week because with baby mysteries, death is highly contagious. A few failure to thrives can fastly create an ammonia spike and wipe out the whole clutch. Frequent water changes and paying close attention will give you the best chance of success, especially during that first initial week. Making sure that all the babies are eating, the water is very clean, and that they're happy. So I do that best with these tiny cups, which I said these hold about, when absolutely full, 3 cups, but I don't like to fully fill it up because they like to go up to the water line like you see the some in the back. They need to breathe. So you want to leave a little bit of room so they don't crawl out of the cup on you. So I hope that this has helped answer some questions that you guys have had. If you have any further questions, leave a comment below. I will reply to all questions, even if it's like 5 years later. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a whirl of a day.